I know the NFB was playing with some 3D. Obviously, the feature films are going towards 3D. Yeah, what is the future of animation?
I think it's awesome. Animation's so big. You can do whatever you want. You know, I don't really see an end to animation. It's gonna keep on evolving. I don't know if it's gonna be 4D. If you guys have been in this IMAX at the what is that at the I think Science World, and they have this 4D thing that it rains and you get water in, so that's like 4D-ish or 6D, I guess. But stories are gonna stay there as really strong. Money and budget's gonna stay there. A lot of the decisions now with the 3D stereoscopic things, it's just money. It comes from business people that they want to charge more when you go to the movie theater because it's only $11. It's only $11. They need to increase that thing. So a lot of those decisions are just from economists trying to get more in the industry. But I guess I love animation. I don't see this getting smaller. I think actually it's just going to get more and more and more. It'll be hard to pinpoint which one's the good one from the other ones, but I don't know, I just think it's big. I think it's awesome. It's great.
I agree with that. And on an opposite side, not only it's going to be very big, I think it's going to be very small. So you can't carry animation in your pocket now on your iPhone and everything. So, hey, you're the one making the iPhone notifications.
It's awesome.
But yeah, so I think there's one side that's very expensive, but the other side is also very cheap to produce and to distribute. And we won't need any glasses tomorrow to watch 3D animation on your iPhone. It'll be live just there, like in Star Wars. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going back to what I said earlier. It's like it's so different than it was when I started, but also so much like it was. It's changed, but then it hasn't changed. And the different ways of showing animation, making animation, it's just expanded. And the iPhone, the iPad, I think is going to be amazing because now we can get into one of the things about animation or film, how it has been for such a long time, is it's told to us. Like, we sit and watch a film, so it's presented to us, and we can't interrupt. We can't. I mean, we could go if we're at home, we can stop the VCR or the DVD. But if you're polite, in this theater, for instance, you have to wait and watch the whole thing. But with interactive capabilities, true interactive capabilities, we can stop, we can go in all sorts of directions with these handhelds, and we can mix text with sound, and so the options are so much more than they were. And then do that in a 3D kind of immersive environment as well, so it's incredible. So it becomes performative and participatory, and you have stuff on stage. These are things that I was talking about when I worked at the NFB, how this, the screen is exploding, it's coming out, it's going in, it's in all directions, it's really exciting. I think we're in a really interesting time, and I think people who are, I like to work with students as well because they don't have that context that I have. To them, it's even more, there's even more, the whole world of games, for instance. They know nothing but games and video and that kind of thing, and they see the possibilities even broader than I do.
Yeah. You know what, I think there's also one thing that's opening. A long time ago, I was working in a small studio, and for some reason we ended up working with ILM a long time ago, and they had all these animatronics, and they brought this Energizer bunny, and I was working with those guys, and then on the remote control, it was a big one. I had a big display, and believe it or not, they had animation curves, I was like, cool. So they were animating arms, and they were animating the head and all that, and they would animate on that screen. Not really with the mouse, they would be like programmers, like really smart people. But I was 3 years ago. I went to UBC. They have a new career back in those days called cognitive systems, and it's all about that. You know, this artificial intelligence that is coming. If you guys go to UBC or SFU, you see those things. They haven't. They have these things that are created by students. And I always look at those things and I say, who's going to move these things? You know, they always move like robots. But somebody has to animate those things. Like if you see all these Japan electronics and robots, they move like robots. But they need to have also some personality, you know, and vacuums and all that. They need to have something, you know, and that's just an animator piece. If you give them the access to that, I can guarantee you that robot is going to be doing some double takes and anticipation, she's going to vacuum this thing. I don't know. It's all that, you know, I think it's opening.
Much more appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing to say is that animation is appealing, right? And you look back at the nostalgia sense that it's Saturday morning cartoons, it's Teletoon, it's racing home after school to watch cartoons. And then the animation that you see in these mainstream movies like Pixar, you know, are really magical. And I think they are one of the top grossing films at the box office. You know, so that has to be said for something that, you know, we looked at, you know, as the advancement of animation came along, people were scared of stop motion, right? That stop motion was going to replace the animator, but it didn't, right? And it showed that these Pixar films that are still animated by animators are still the top grossing films out there. So we think about, you know, that movement and where animation is going and where it can go. And I was at the NFB Montreal about a month ago, and I had my mind blown with the idea that they are now drawing in a 3D space. Right? I was sitting there with this pen drawing like this, and when I drew with these glasses on, it was coming at me as I drew in this 3D space. And the whole thing I could think of is I gotta make a movie using this, right? Because I'm so used to drawing in a flat space, but now people are drawing in a 3D space.
They draw in Z?
They draw in Z. And it was like, oh man, I didn't know this was possible, right? But it is possible, and it is the future, right? But still, I think what Martin was saying is the old concepts still apply. You still, and Mara, you were saying, you still need to know how to animate, you still need to know the illusion of life, you still need to know these animation principles.
How about if your arm's not long enough?
Well, then you're in trouble. Then you've got a stick, right?